Previously on Unpacked.
I'm big.
Yes.
I'm popping, wearing this maxi dress. This gentleman, looked like a gentleman, asked me if I don't need a ride, where am I going? And he pulled out a gun, got me to the back seat of the car, and he had his way with me. I literally felt like I'm no longer a woman.
Kholofelo Mokgwatsane survived a rape ordeal while 7 months pregnant. This is part 2 of her story. Let's continue to unpack. Did you feel robbed?
Absolutely.
And like something was taken from you?
I felt like my whole life was taken. Just my humanhood and my dignity, I felt dirty. I felt filthy. I remember when I bathed, I'd even scrub myself, it was... I felt like my child was contaminated somehow. It took me what felt like years was just 2 weeks. And when I think about it, I'm very grateful for the support that I had from my mom and Rose, because they were there, and they kept on reminding me that it's gonna pass. They called my school and they told the dean what was going on, and she was very understanding. And they would, have someone come over, bring me, notes, and just so that I don't get left behind. Even though I couldn't even study, I couldn't do anything. I was, I'd find myself just staring at the ceiling, and I don't even know what I was thinking at the time.
Would it be accurate to say that within that period you were depressed?
I was. Excuse me. I was. I had suicidal thoughts for a very long time. But I guess what kept on going through my mind was the fact that I can't, excuse me, be so selfish as to take my life, because I'm holding another life. And she at least deserves a chance, even if this world is just so cold and cruel. I just felt like it would be very selfish of me to take that away from her. And I wanted to protect her with my life. They got me a therapist. She'd come to the house. But I didn't continue for a very long time. She'd come twice a week, on Tuesdays and on Thursdays. And sometimes I just felt like, why are you here? Firstly, you don't even understand what's happening to me. You haven't gone through it. And I was full of rage. I'd snap sometimes at my mom. I was just angry at myself even for going there. I could have just stayed. And I remember my aunt used to tell me that if ever you need something, just let me know. Joburg is not a place that we go to, But I don't know. I felt like she was being extra, She was being dramatic. And I was so upset at myself kept on asking myself, why didn't I listen? Why didn't I just listen and not go there? I was angry for such a long time. I was depressed. I didn't want to leave my room. I didn't want to leave bed. That was, for me, the most peaceful place in the house. And it was hard for me to get up and just go take a bath.
When they checked the baby, they said everything was okay with the baby.
Absolutely.
What was at that time, what conversations were you having with yourself about your baby? And did that incident change how you felt about your child?
Well, I was very scared that maybe the child would, somehow contract an infection. Excuse me. I didn't even know if I could continue with the whole full term. I thought that I'd probably have to be induced, maybe something wrong had taken place, or she could be harmed somehow. But as soon as they told me that the baby's fine and I'm also clean and there's nothing to be worried about, I had a sense of relief.
So they didn't at the time put you on ARVs?
There's these I don't know what they call these. I think it's ARVs, but it's like just in case you have contracted.
Yes.
Until then, they let me know that
Yes.
you're clear. It was antibiotics, I think.
Okay.
Some type. It's fuzzy. I can't really remember. And then they told me that no, I'm fine. The baby is fine. But all I remember was that I really have to protect this baby with all my life. I put her in danger. I felt like I blamed myself 90% of the time. And I would, kill myself if anything happened to her. By the way, she's 6 now, healthy, smart. She knows nothing about it, and that's not something she'll know until she's probably an adult. I just remember thinking that I need to protect this child with my life. That was my main thing. And praying that,
No, continue.
Praying that, there's no complications going forward. Yeah.
When did the darkness start to clear up a little bit for you?
About a month or so. I pray. And for me, it wasn't therapy that helped me. Because I remember the therapist came twice a week, only for 2 weeks. And one time then she wanted us to meet at a mall, have like coffee or something. And I couldn't leave. I couldn't leave the house. I never left the house since. I think it took me about 2 months to start going out. And I still felt unsafe. She wanted to, change the setting and sort of get me to step out of my comfort zone and just to see if I'm able to. And I didn't go. And I just told him, I actually want to quit this therapy thing. It's not working for me. Because I just hated talking about something that really I can't fix right now. It's done. It's done. They just said, okay, cool, it's fine. Are you sure that you want to quit? And I said, I just don't want to go see her anymore. especially after she had suggested the meetup. So I kept on praying, I just literally, there was still that question, asking God, why? Like, for what good could this be? Really, I mean, you say that everything works for the good, for those who love you, but what good could this possibly bring, I was upset with him, but I'd still just talk to him. And I think that's where the healing came from. I'd find myself just crying out and asking for a hug. I felt like it's a hug that I needed, not from my mom. Nobody could give me that type of hug. And it was a constant prayer. And, I don't know when, I just saw myself like a load was lifted. Just all of a sudden. I can't tell you really the time that it took and when it happened, but I just remember one day being okay. It was for me, my mom didn't understand it. And by the way, she's a pastor. So the irony,
Yeah.
excuse me, may I just blow my nose?
So mom didn't understand having seen you in such a dark, lonely, isolated, heavy, painful space to suddenly having that lifted, something that therapy wasn't able to do for you at that time. And she couldn't understand how it happened.
Exactly.
And how do you explain it today?
Whew. God does the impossible. I mean, for me, that's the only, I don't know how I can put it in words. It's more of an experience than anything. Once you encounter God, there's something that it's something that you can't go back from. Literally, just something, it was just like a load in my heart. I could feel it in my heart that I was light. And I had hope, Yes, some days, I'd go back and cry about it, but it was easier. It became so much easier. There was reassurance. There was restoration. I felt like a person again. I had joy. I could actually look forward to seeing my newborn. I'd think of her, I'd picture her in my head, and I'd smile about it.
Which before then you couldn't even imagine smiling about anything.
I wouldn't even think of,
Yeah.
I couldn't even think of holding her in my arms. That was a very far thought.
So how was the remainder of the pregnancy?
It was okay. I only had okay. So I had like an injured hip, mainly because she was heavy. She was a big baby, and because of my body structure. When I gave birth, I was initially supposed to have a C-section, but then 11th hour they said I should just go push. Very crazy, very crazy story. But she came and she was a healthy big baby and no problem at all. Beautiful. It's like she sort of like erased everything that had happened. She was a miracle baby. She's a miracle baby, and
Do you think she saved your life?
I actually do. I call her punyeletu, which means breakthrough. Because for me, after that, there was literally no looking back. I was just excited about life. I was excited about her and all that there is in this world that is good for her. I even forgot about the cruelty and the coldness of this world. And she just gave me hope. Yeah, it was a very tough labor, but it was worth it. It was worth every moment.
So what ended up happening with the criminal case?
Oh, the police came back, did a couple of sketches.
It did end.
Didn't. Like, there was
Didn't.
literally nothing till they didn't even contact us anymore.
Wow.
You know, and for me, because of the space that I was in at the time, I just wanted to forget about it. Honestly,
Not having to keep telling the story over and over again.
Exactly. I really just, I felt it was redundant, and I told my mom that I just don't want to see these people. Let them not come over anymore, because they keep on asking me one thing over and over, and they've got the case and the dog, and why should I keep on repeating myself? And they're so impatient on top of that. So till they'd call here and there until they stop calling.
Yeah. So to this day, it just is a cold case.
Basically.
Yeah. Just in terms of that case happened, did you ever consider going back to therapy?
Not really. I don't recall going back to therapy or thinking about it. No reason specifically, but I've never really, I think every day though is a healing process. Every day is, with every day and every tear and every time I even tell it, slowly but surely, I just feel like, what makes me teary, what makes me cry is just thinking about that time and where I was then. It's no longer, why did it happen? Or why me? It's more of remembering how it felt.
Yes.
Yeah. I guess, yeah. Maybe I would consider therapy if the opportunity came along, but I really haven't thought about it.
What about the memories? Did they ever come back to you?
Once in, when I look at my daughter sometimes, and think about how she came about, and sometimes they do, but it's very rare until I have to talk about it. Yeah. When I hear a story from someone, and I can relate. I'll probably not go into detail, but I can, just speak about it. Normally, I don't cry about it. Yeah.
What are some of the things that trigger you? We hear about rape all the time.
I get upset. I get really upset every single time I hear about that. I can't even watch something that has like a rape incident on it. I get angry. I actually do get angry. Yeah. Or anything that comes, even if it's not just rape, but,
An attack.
Yes.
Yes.
I get very, very edgy, and yeah, it makes me upset. It just makes me very angry.
You spoke earlier about the fact that you blacked out.
Yeah.
do you ever, or have you ever had flashbacks of being raped in that moment?
No. No way. Actually, to come think of it, really, not at all. I just remember seeing the gun while I was in the front seat and going to the back seat. And after that, literally, I don't remember anything.
There are so many people who are very skeptical when women share stories of how they were raped or that they were raped. So what would you say to the person who would say, how? If you don't remember, then how do you know? You know, what would you say to that person?
When you know your body, you know your body first and foremost, and you know if you've had a sexual encounter.
Yes.
And this is just, apart from physically feeling it, you can feel it.
Yes.
You know, and that doesn't take away from the fact that you've been raped.
Yes.
You can't base that on whether or not, it's not an argument,
Yes.
you know.
Are you grateful that the memories are not there?
I'm so grateful. I am so grateful. You know, I actually, it's a gift. It's yeah. I've seen it happen with kids. We got mugged once, and I was with my kids. They didn't see anything. I'm actually glad. I feel like if I did have flashbacks, maybe those would be sort of like a setback, you know. I'd probably keep on going back or have nightmares about it, and I think it's better to heal, you know, not remembering that part, especially that part.
If that man that raped you were to be watching right now, what would you want to say to him?
I have no words. I don't know. I don't know, hey? All I know is that I know it didn't go unpunished. That I know for sure. Even though the justice system didn't do well by me, I know that God did, or is still going to. And for me, that's enough. Vengeance is His. Yeah, I really don't know what I'd say. I'd probably get freaked out if I saw him, though.
But you'd remember his face?
Definitely. I would definitely remember his face. I have no words for him. Yeah.
I think I'm sure the viewers will share the sentiments with me that we're so grateful your daughter wasn't harmed while in your belly. I, just get goosebumps thinking about how already you're dealing with hormones and fatigue and all those things while you're pregnant, to now be violated in the way that you did. I'm so, so sorry that happened to you.
Thank you.
And for a person to be so brazen in broad daylight, like, it doesn't sound like somebody who was doing that for the first time.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm also grateful you're here able to share your story with us. What would you want people, South Africans, viewers, to know? Because there's so many stigmas and suspicions around the discussions of rape, including, rape by a stranger. What would you want people to know?
Firstly, to the person that is raped, it's not your fault. Because I think a lot of the times we blame ourselves for putting ourselves in that situation.
Yes.
And, people will say, you asked for it, or just cruel stuff like, why didn't you fight him off? And not understanding where you are at that time. Even just for the fact that it's a man and a woman, we don't have the same strength, It's also like being mugged. I mean, you can't just, when you're in fright, you don't just say, it's easy for you to say it, but when you're actually there, it's not that simple. Also, people start looking at you a different way. Like you're contaminated, like you're dirty somehow, you're filthy.
Do you think people pity you?
Sometimes I do. I think it would depend on who I'm telling the story to and how. But I feel like instead of pity, it should be a person should just be grateful that you're still alive. I mean, at the end of the day, life is what matters, right? And just to stop treating people that have been raped like, I don't know, like I've seen in relationships, as soon as a person discloses the fact that they've been raped, you get treated differently, And I don't think that's healthy. We're not dirty. We are still women. We are still the same person. It's just that you've been violated, Your privacy has been invaded. But it doesn't make you any less of a woman. To be even able to just, go around and live your life after that, that's courage. That takes a lot to get out of that darkness. It takes a whole lot. So yeah, to encourage people who've gone through this, women who've gone through this, it's not the end. I'd just say it's not the end, and it's gonna get brighter.
Thank you so much for sharing your story. I know it was extremely difficult having to talk through those moments and relive such a painful, painful time in your life. But I'm so encouraged by where you are today and the fact that you're able to speak about it and help others that are going to be watching. And your daughter's healthy and well. And that you want to encourage other women and women who have been raped. I don't even want to say victims because you have won.
Yes.
You have won. And as you say, justice may not be restored by the SAPS and our legal system, but it will be done. Thank you so much for coming to talk to us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. To all of the women who have been raped, we see you and we believe you, each and every one of you. There is life after the incident that you have experienced, where you were robbed, where you were violated and had something taken away from you. I hope today you know that your worth did not change because of that moment or moments. And we stand with all of you. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a good night. Next time on Unpacked. The cameras are there. This was your moment.
That lady at the front is telling me, I don't think you're gonna make it, but you can try.
I wasn't used to the pressure.
That moment where you reach the finals and your name is announced. What did that feel like? Woo!
I think I didn't hear my name.
Throughout that entire process, I was just praying, like,
Thank you so much for watching Unpacked with Relebogile Mabotja. Make sure you subscribe to my channel where you can get to watch more episodes. But more importantly, you can be part of our online community. Comment down below, share with us who you'd like to see on the show, what story you'd like us to discuss. We love engaging with you. Keep it coming and don't forget to subscribe.